What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Ultra OK Duelist. I'm your host, James. Today I have my co-host is
Lance.
and today we're here with
Alfredo.
our Ultra OK guest for today is Alfredo. Welcome to the show.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks for being on. Some quick things first. Don't forget to go down there and like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell if you are subscribed. And thanks for everybody that's returning viewers, all of my new viewers, thank you, and all my new subscribers over this last week. We appreciate your subscriptions. To all our friends over in India and in the other place that they are.
I have no
India and I think it's
Tell me, man.
I think it's Indonesia. Yeah. Thanks for viewing.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we have like on the analytics it shows like 3.7% of the viewers are from India.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
A large amount are from the United States, obviously, but we have like viewers of
The
other
Americas.
places. It hasn't given us like metrics for other places, but if it's giving us that for that,
that's enough.
they must have a significant amount of people viewing. But
pretty
thanks
good.
for your support. All right, so we'll jump right into this. We always ask the same question, and how is it that you got into Yu-Gi-Oh?
So, I actually got in because my younger brother calls my little brother, but he's bigger than me now. He's my little big brother. Boy's 6'5". He's a big dude now.
So you got taller than you,
Yeah, much taller than me.
and you're pretty tall.
Yeah. I'm like a little over 6'2", but
You're taller than most people here.
Yeah. Just, he can put his
like
arm on my shoulder, but so we saw it. We saw Yu-Gi-Oh! The show when it first came out, and it was dope. It was pretty cool. We both got stoked about it, and we didn't know that it was actually coming out into a card game. And we used to go to the flea market every Sunday and Saturday with my grandma to help her out, moving stuff. And when we were there one day, we'd help her out, set up everything, do all the physical stuff. He'd give us like $20, like go do bullshit, be kids. And we're like, all right, dope. So we actually was walking around one day, and like at the very back, I remember, because it was actually at called the Mission Open Air Flea Market on the south side, right? So we were in the back, we were walking, and we saw the stand with huge old cases, and we looked at the stand, there's Yu-Gi-Oh cards. We're like, oh shit, and there's the structure decks and all that kind of stuff. And we started talking to the old dude who's there, and he was selling the structure decks. I think they were like $15 a pop or whatever. We're like, oh,
15 was a little overpriced at that time.
Yeah,
because I think they were like $10 at the store. So
and then
markets.
I was like, oh shit, I was like, well, I just got $20, and he's like, all right, I'll give you both of them $20, and I was like, shit, fuck, if I know. I was like, yeah, sure. And mind you, we got the Kaiba and the Yugi, right? And my brother was big Kaiba dude. I was a big Yugi. I love Dark Magician. That's my boy. And we grabbed them. We went back to the van and we fucking opened them right then and there and started looking through the cards. We're like, oh shit, this is cards from this episode, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
It was pretty dope seeing that, And we just stayed into it, we really played a lot, and it was pretty cool because we always just played together. We didn't really care about anybody else, playing with. It was just always me and him since we were kids. And he has a twin sister. We were trying to get her to get into it, but she's like, nah, I ain't having that, So we just stayed between me and him. But we did the whole, the playground rules at first, slapping on. You saw that thing? Slapping Summon Skull, slapping Dark Magician. He would slap Blue Eyes. I'm like, oh, no shit.
Yeah.
And the good game with the good, magic cylinders until each other get good. But we started going to that dude like every, we save up our money that my grandma would give us, at the end. And we had asked him, well, hey, where can we get more if you're running out? Because, he had packs. Oh, well, Walmart, that kind of stuff. So as the years went by, like, we would tell my grandma, like, okay, well, hey, we sent our money. Take us to, in her words, Tigre, Target. I don't know why she always called it that, but she always called it Tigre.
I think that's a common thing, right? Do you not hear people call it Tigre?
Yeah,
I've heard that.
She's always called it that. But so she'd take us and she'd like, hey, what you want? We'd get and then the tins started coming out, you know what I mean? And that was like wild, like, and then like I remember when I think the biggest hype for us after the first couple of generations Yu-Gi-Oh was I guess like I said we were into it the most, where we really we actually met other kids at the flea market there who were playing, and we like really learned how to play the game. Was during I think when the heroes started coming out.
Okay, so this was like around
GX period. So like we had played before, and
so
we had
been
other
playing for maybe 4 or 5
years. Yeah, we were playing for 4 or 5 years, but like never been to an actual shop, never really played with them. It was just always us. We were collecting them. we had one other friend, and like we met older guys who were there, and they just bully the fuck out of us. Boy, we yada locked. Like I got yada locked as a kid. Okay, like you're just like, well, and those of you who remember what that was,
Yeah,
you know,
I
the
would play
tears come out.
at the one down here, Alien Worlds, because I grew up in this
Okay,
area.
yeah.
We would play down over at Alien Worlds, and I got yada locked there too.
Yeah, so, and these guys, they was just vicious. Didn't give a fuck. Like, they're just like, oh, sorry, yeah. Okay, yeah, I was like, thought about that. But they very much, you know, but they taught us how to play, like, actually play the game.
Yeah.
You know, so that was the cool part. I would say they never took advantage of, like, card-wise. And they would throw us cards all the time. They're like,
Yeah.
you know, they're like, hey, here, and they throw us, like, you know, a super, a secret, like, oh,
Did you really have anything that they, like, oh, I need that, you
well,
know?
there would be cards sometimes, like, we would pull stuff. Like, dude, I'm telling you, okay, so I'll get to that part kind of a little bit after, but dude, I had LOB Blue Eyes. I had crazy stuff that we would just pull because we spent, that's all our money, that's where it went to. So we were making, like, you know, talking about like $50 to $100.
And you were buying singles at the...
No, we're just buying packs, dude.
No,
we were like crackheads. We were like, you know, we're just
Crackheads?
like, I need more packs to pull. And we would just find, and like, you know, and then after a couple years, like, I started having my own stand. So my girl was like, hey, you pay me back for the entrance, the cost of everything, and you guys keep the profit. Because she wanted to teach us how to work. I said, okay, yeah. So we go to Laredo, dude. Buy sunglasses for, you know, you're spending like $2 a piece. I'm selling them for like $5 a piece. You know, I'm making $3 profit.
Just
just boom, dude. I come out.
Sunglasses, or is it like those Lokes or?
Oh, it was like Lokes, fucking the fake Prada, all that other stuff.
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
like you'd go from where you'd buy them.
Would you be,
send
that
out,
would
you know?
be down, like down in Laredo. I know, like at the time when I was about that age too, that mall was still there, right next to the river.
Yeah.
Was it that?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they had that little Centro Comercial. Yeah. That there. And they have a bunch of other shops, but like, cause she was
Or would you actually cross over and buy stuff from on the other side?
Well, we could. Well, anytime we crossed over is for the dentist or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But you know,
we always crossed over for tacos and mini tacos and stuff like that. That's
but
always good. 5
so
cents
yeah,
for a
we
drink.
were just buying stuff, and then I came back and doing like BB guns, that kind of stuff, like random stuff, dude. And I was just flipping everything, and I was making, you know, a good $200-300 a weekend profit. Like everything's profit. I paid my grandma back. I'd have $200-300.
How old were you at this time?
Oh, dude, like. I was a kid. I was under 10 years old, dude.
Okay,
it was wild, dude. Like, just saying, like, I was just learning. And then even when I got into like middle school, I was doing that stuff. And it taught me a lot and kind of translated to obviously my adult life on that. But it taught me a lot of like thinking about like the numbers, that kind of stuff. And then one thing that got me away, because like my mom didn't like the fact that we were spending money on cars. And then she found out how much money these cars cost. And my grandma would just buy them. Like, not only would I have my money, my grandma would still take us to Walmart or whatever, buy us packs, buy us the $20-30 tins. I don't remember how much they were back then. You know, and then like they came out with the legendary. Remember the binder?
Oh
with
yeah,
the three,
yeah.
with the
3 cards on it.
Yeah, so she'd still buy us that, and we still have our money, and then we go buy more. And so my mom, she didn't like it, and my way to spin it was like, what's math? I'm learning how to read. You know, like understanding, you know, complex senses.
Yep, reading, math.
You know,
That's how you get them in there.
Okay, she goes, "Oh, it makes sense." I'm like, "Look," I was like, "We don't
all the things that we don't know.
that we don't do now as adults." And it was funny though, because I was like, "Yeah, you start with 8,000 life points, and you start talking about this, and this was back when we had what Trihorn Dragon, all this other stuff, like had random life point, but you keep track of all of them in your head." And I mean, I was just good at math in general, you know. But it was funny because it was like my way of spinning it to my mom, like it's cool, you know what I mean? And I was like, we don't fight, we play, and you know, I was like, it's better than us, you know, doing other stuff that other kids were doing, you know. And as we got older again, like I said, the GX started happening, the Heroes started happening. Then like we've met more people at the film market. It's funny because I had no experience at actual shops at that time, and we started having our own little tournaments there. Like it was like 6-8 of us that we would just go. Like everybody's parents were there, and we would just meet up, hang out, and there was like a couple guys who were older than me. One guy was my age, and like 2 of my brother's age, and we would just all play. And then sometimes we get a little crazy, like, you know, let's bet cards. Yeah. Because we were betting money, so we literally just slap a rare card down, and you had no idea what the values were of these cards or nothing. You're just secret for secret. You know, you could be
trading a good secret for a really
exactly. And you had no idea, but it was fun.
At that time, the secrets weren't even really that good.
Yeah, they weren't.
The ultra rares.
Yeah, the ultra. Yeah. And I mean, like, Like Delinquent Duo was freaking
Yeah,
crazy.
all the ultra rares were way better.
rares, you know.
Premature Burial, Delinquent
Mhm.
Duo, Change of Heart, like all those cards, Monster Born, which is way better
Yeah.
than any of the secret rares. All the secret rares were like vanilla cards and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, you did.
They matter now, but like at that time,
at the
they
time
were
they didn't
nothing.
anymore.
They didn't
True.
mean anything to the game
But,
other than just a big body to drop on the board.
They just look cool. They just
Yeah,
look cool. They're
and
like,
they-
oh man,
yeah.
they didn't do nothing. They were just like, I'm here. Let's go. And but yeah, so that's kind of pretty much what happened. But we had quite a bit of, we had a real big collection. I'm talking about like we had at least like good, 4 or 5 copies of LB Blue Eyes, like a bunch of old stuff that now that I know like, how much money they're worth, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
And so we had all these cards, and then remember Crystal Beast came out. I was all about it. Freaking Rainbow Dragon came out. I was like, dude, I remember I pulled a Ghost Rare Rainbow Dragon, my first Ghost Rare I pulled. I was hyped about it. And dude, me and my brother, we probably had a good like, I want to say like 14, 15 decks built. Like that we built, like there was no net decking, there was no learning. It was just, we got these cards, we looked at them, you connect the dots and they'd work and they'd be pretty cool. Like I had, those the spiders, with the Earthbound Immortal.
Okay.
Whatever, yeah. So then they had at the same time they came with those spider cards that like switch everything to defense mode if they came like certain like stuff like that. But like and then
So are you talking about like the Xseed monsters?
no. I'm talking about like they're a bunch of like little 4s and like and lower. Then there's old. They came out like during the Earthbound Immortal, like when they came out. I'll have to show you later. I don't remember the exact names, but they're real niche, man. The field spells, like if a monster attacks, switch to defense mode, and then it stays in defense mode. And it's like weird stuff, like weird interactions.
Okay.
But it was cool. And then it's
So
like
they're all insects.
they're all insects, and then it's like okay,
I think I know which ones
pop
you're
a
talking
card
about,
if it's in
now.
defense mode, or some shit like.
I just don't know the
something like
names
that.
of them, but I
Yeah.
remember those cards now.
It's just those cards like stuck in my memory, and then like when the Venom snakes came out originally, Phenomenon, the King, and then
and they had also introduced that as a new type. What was that the? Well, no, it wasn't reptiles. No, reptiles was already out.
they were already out. No, they were still because
What was the new
Venom
archetype
those
that
are
they
still
put out?
reptiles.
Was it? Oh no, those were aliens. Never
Those
mind.
are the aliens.
Right,
Yeah,
aliens. I'm thinking about aliens,
Mhm.
which they haven't made
But yeah,
anything useful
so-
for.
At this time, like, are you just watching the show? Are you
Dude,
getting
that's it.
information from? Because I remember I would always find like the information for Yu-Gi-Oh would be the magazine. Every time I
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
Walmart or any place, go to the magazine area and get the Yu-Gi-Oh.
The little
it has-
Shonen Jump?
not the Shonen Jump. There's the Shonen Jumps. And there's also ones that actually like talk about like price, like they have pricings on them,
pricing.
and then like what was coming out, that kind of stuff. So so
There's
at the
actually
time,
like a few magazines.
There was a
that
few of
had
them in there.
Yu-Gi-Oh product.
and we would buy those because we were like into it. But like I said, it was just the show. We had the small group of friends that we known for a couple years that we met, like just growing up, and then just the enjoyment of me and him playing.
You
like,
probably
Wiki
at that
Wars.
time too. You probably overvalued cards that you saw in the show that looked overpowered
100%.
over
And-
something that you knew nothing about because you didn't see it being played in
Exactly.
the show.
You didn't
so
see any representation
totally
on it or anything like that.
swapped.
And then it took me a long time before I even started buying those magazines. And sometimes I wouldn't even buy them. I'd just look at them, look through them, read the card names, look at the prices, and then I'd be like, okay. And then in my head, I'm like, all right, well, things fluctuate, right?
That's literally how we would look at prices back in the day.
Yeah.
We would get
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
magazines, and it depends like how much time. I remember doing that when I was with my grandma, going to the store. Like, oh, how much time do we got? Okay, I need to look at these few cards, and then
Or,
see.
oh, I have this card. How much is it worth? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That way, if you were gonna trade it off or anything like that, and like for the most part, though, like for us, I can say like for the longest time, like, even if I knew the price of the card, I didn't care because like I wasn't gonna sell it. I didn't want to sell it. Like, if I would sell it, I'd sell it to that one guy, and he would give it. He'd be like, "Okay, this is what it's worth." And he was always. It felt like he could have, swapped us over plenty of times, but he'd be like, "Hey, this is what the value is. I'm not going to pay you that. I'll pay you this for it." And then we just use. But then we just use that money to buy more packs.
Yeah.
But like, I want more cards. I want this stuff because I want to build this deck. And he'd be like, "Okay, cool." Or he'd give us sleeves, boxes. We were just, and that's the thing. Like,
The
it's
benefit
a
of
whole
being a child in the game.
yeah, exactly. It was a whole nother ball game, and we just kept growing up playing that. And then I remember in high school, we were still, playing all the way up to me being in high school, and I was playing, a lot more into football, working out, all that kind of stuff, and then my studies, and so we'd still make time to play over there, but like it was just it wasn't as big of a priority, So I started putting more of my money into like protein shakes, workout equipment, that kind of stuff. Instead of the cards, but we still had them all plenty. And I remember I was at a game, and during halftime, my coach called. We were talking. My coach pulled me over, and he's like, hey, I need to talk to you. I was like, hey, what's up? And he was like, yeah, so we just got an emergency call for you. We're allowed to have our phones out. We were in our lockers, and there's a fire at your grandmother's house. So I'm like, oh man, like, hey, everybody's okay. It's just the house right now. So I find out that the whole back garage that she had, that we had everything burned down, all of our cars are in there.
Oh shit,
like, everything. And I'm thinking, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, so, like, and remember, like, having all these specific cars that I know that are worth thousands of dollars now,
just gone,
just like that.
You would probably still have now.
Oh yeah, that's probably still. Honestly, I probably never would have sold them to. Like, if I still had all the LOB Bloods, they'd probably be in a plaque or something like that.
And that's,
like or graded or something like that.
When I first got into like card trading, I got into Pokemon. That was obvious. I think most people started off around my time in Pokemon. Yu-Gi-Oh wasn't even out yet, and it was just Pokemon Magic.
Before,
but I didn't see a Magic card until I got to high school. But
Magic was actually the first one I saw.
Yeah, Pokemon. I was picking up all that stuff, and I left my binder near a window, and I lived on the south side at this time, near Harlandale, the Harlandale district, and it was near a window, and the window was open because my mom never had the AC on. It was always hot during the summer or whatever. And someone came and fucking opened that window, snatched the binder, put the thing back on. The binder's gone. And so just from losing it that way, but like you're talking about like your entire grandma's house burning down, or the garage in the back. And like that has to freaking hurt like way worse because now she's in a spot and you're and you lost everything.
Like, it wasn't like the actual house. So she had a.
So it was just a shed.
A big part. So it's like it was a pretty big garage. So like she used to keep all of her. So like that is that where she stored all the stuff that she would sell? That she would sell. Dang, so clothes, all that stuff. One of my Mommy Julie, her sister, my grandmother's sister, I call Mommy Julie. She raised me too. Two of the cards burned down. Get off their old classics were bad. I don't remember what it was. I just remember it was sick. It was like purple. It had a drop top. It looked cool. To this day I don't remember what kind of color it was. But yeah, it all burned down, man.
Huge loss.
A huge loss. Like it was really big. Thankfully though, it didn't affect the actual house itself.
Or anybody.
That was the biggest thing. And me and my brother spent all summer cleaning, like help cleaning that stuff out, like throwing everything, breaking everything apart. And we actually built her a new shed. And nowhere near the same. It's not like an actual shed. It was just like,
something small. Something
small.
You can
figure it out. We got it done.
Something where you're not going to store your cards ever again.
Yeah, for sure. We learned our lesson. But okay, so but that happened, and it just kind of like didn't really after losing all that, Yu-Gi-Oh just kind of like came second nature. My brother moved to Houston to live with my tia going to school there because he started kind of slacking. They were going to send him outright, so he moved out there. I didn't see him for a good year, man. Like a good year. It was like probably I think it was like his freshman year, my senior year, something like that. I didn't see him for years. The next time I saw him, he was taller than me.
And no Yu-Gi-Oh
playing. No Yu-Gi-Oh at that point. Like after that, like I said, after that happened, I just stopped. Maybe I watched the show.
I stopped collecting Pokemon cards after that whole binder got stolen. Because I started off with one card that my mom forced my older brother to give me. It was a Poliwag. And then I took that, and Fossils had just come out.
Oh, yeah.
So I took that, and someone pitied me
when
and gave me some Fossil cards for it.
The movie came out with Mewtwo, and they had the little tablet.
Yeah.
The Mew tablet. The Mew.
Yeah.
I remember that. So it was crazy. So like Yu-Gi-Oh! It came out with but like what? The Digimon, the original Digimon card game.
Show.
And the TV show, the Digimon came out. But Pokemon was the thing. So the way my tias, they were trying to make everybody do like chores and stuff. They'd give them a Pokemon pack.
Yeah.
So like the OGs,
that's a nice way of
and that's how it was.
Fire.
I wish I could bribed that way.
So they're like,
you're gonna go and do that,
pack, baby. And like my cousins were doing it, but like my cousin, my older cousin on Lee, I don't know what they did with theirs, but he had binders, okay, of every Pokemon card, and I'm talking about like the OG stuff, but like binders. And I never knew what he did with them or what my cousin, but they had. I remember them seeing it. They were super into Pokemon, the collecting cards, whatever. So I was like, all right, cool, and it didn't really like catch me too much, I guess, because I just didn't know how to play the game. It's interesting, but Yu-Gi-Oh, game changer, and another game that I played that I kind of played by myself was Magic.
Mm-hmm.
So you speaking of Alien Worlds, there was a shop by our house, but they didn't have Yu-Gi-Oh. Like they just didn't carry Yu-Gi-Oh. They didn't have Yu-Gi-Oh. But I went there because my mom was going to like a Sally. It was
an old shop.
It was just it was like Alien World or
it was like an Alien World.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the shop, but
you just don't remember the name.
So long ago.
Typical.
Yeah, typical, right? You just don't remember. It's fucking years ago. But I remember my mom went to the Sally's for the hair and stuff, and she goes, "Yeah, just go in there. They got comic books." And I was like, "All right, dope. Like I like comics." So walked in there, and I saw cards, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And they're like, "It's called Magic the Gathering." And the guy took his time. Almost taking forever. Dude. Took the time to like pull out decks, show me a kid how to play it. I thought this dude was the coolest guy in the world. I was like, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Your perception as a kid from like when someone's like, helping you out, trying to teach you something, whatever, is completely different. Like you may even like want to emulate that growing up, whatever, be more like that person because you enjoyed the way you were treated. Yeah. So you start treating kids the same way. Like when we would get free cards. Now when a kid comes in, they have no idea what's going on. You just start doing shit for free. And
I feel like it's a big thing because it was cool because my first Magic the Gathering deck he gave me like right then there for free. I didn't spend any money. My mom didn't come in to buy me anything. He was just like, "Hey, dude, like here you go. If you ever want to come back, come back. You can always play here with us. We play all the time." And I was like, "That's wild." So I always had those cards, and then on top of like throughout the years buying I would kind of buy Magic, but that kind of went away, like I said, because I just didn't have it. My brother wasn't interested in Magic. So once that shop closed down, I just never picked it back up. But like you were saying, like that was the first like actual card I saw, and then Yu-Gi-Oh was a whole nother thing, and obviously carried on through. But after us going, after the fire and all that, I just kind of stopped. Obviously Yu-Gi-Oh kept going on as a show. Still watched it, like you're bored, you still watched it.
At what time point did you find yourself getting back into the game?
So it was actually by chance. So I have a buddy, Crane. I'm pretty sure you know Crane, right? So I had moved. Me and my wife.
You know Crane? He works with Jerry.
Yeah, he works with Jerry. Yeah. No. Okay.
Well, so Crane's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. And so I was living in Houston. Me and my wife decided to move. We're engaged still at the time. Decided to come back down to San Antonio, and we had a hookah lounge. So we were there, and Crane was going there, and he was a regular, and we were just chatting up, drinking, smoking, relaxing, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, well I'm gonna go play this Yu-Gi-Oh tournament," and I'm like, "Oh, that's dope. I like Yu-Gi-Oh." He's like, "You don't like Yu-Gi-Oh." I'm like,
it's like always.
Yeah, right. I'm like, yeah, you don't like it.
Like a lot of people will say that to people.
Yeah, they will. And he goes,
"You don't know anything about
you don't know nothing, buddy." And I'm like, "All right." Well,
because you're
thinking
you're thinking about when you were from the flea market days, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I was cold back then."
Yeah, you know what I mean? And
if you even get like a year and a half, 2 years removed from the game, you've pretty much probably.
You got to start over.
You have to relearn.
And all I told him was, all I said was, "I like Yu-Gi-Oh. I think it's cool." And he goes, and I'm like, "I'm sure it changed." He goes, "Well, yeah, but I'm like, it's been years, man. Like it has been." But I was like, I could throw down, dude. I could read. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking in my head. How much crazier could have gotten? It's only been like a decade. And I'm like, I oh shit. I was like, yeah. So let me go ahead and he's like talking about. I was like, yeah, let me just give me a deck, dude. He goes, well, you know what? He's like, you can come to the shop with me. I said, all right. And he's like, it's up here, so get in the car, drive over to Heroes. I was like, oh shit, this is the thing. I didn't know Heroes was, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I got lost in the comic book side, I ain't gonna lie. Then I made my way back up, and I saw a bunch of people just throwing it. I was like, wow. I didn't realize Yu-Gi-Oh was like this, Yeah. And then I was looking at the cards and the cases, how expensive they were. I was like, fuck. Like, it's changed a lot,
Yeah,
but it was pretty cool. And he told me, he goes, well, he goes, well, do you want to try playing? And I was like, sure. Like, I don't mind. I got nothing else to do because we own a business, right? So it's like, and to be honest, my wife is doing mostly everything. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I did all like the background stuff, so like the accounting, the books, all that stuff. She handled like customer service. We had an employee and stuff. So half the time I was just chilling around playing the PS3 or PS4, drinking, smoking hookah. I'd be like, you know what I mean? So like I was like, I got plenty of time.
Just chilling.
I was just
Plenty
chilling.
of time to kill.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, yeah, and
I think this was around the time then I must have.
yeah, this is when we first. This is
I think you
around
met
the time.
Danny first.
Yeah,
And then
so,
Danny said you were coming to the tournament, and I was like, I don't know who Alfredo is. So
because
then
that's
when I
2016. I think they won 2016 around there.
Yeah,
15, 16,
yeah.
something like that, something around there. And but I remember Crane had built, it was Cosmos, what he had built originally, and that's what he showed me how to play, like reintroduced me. It was funny because I was like, all right, yeah, and they're like, he gave me the deck, I read the cards, I was like, okay, and I asked him a couple questions, like, is this how this interacts, you know? He's like, yeah, cool, and he's like, all right, I'll just swing with it. Won a couple of games, I was like, all right, this is cool. And then I was like, yeah, I want to build this deck. And then that's when I started picking up the cards. That's when, you know, I think I met you, and like you helped me get a couple of the cards. And
Yeah,
that's
I love that deck.
Yeah, it was it's the best. It's fun. I love it. And it was before we obviously Cosmo Lane and all that stuff. And which kind of I guess leads us into the next topic about, you know, my first regional. Yeah.
Well, actually, I was gonna ask you as an older, as more experienced players, I guess, you know, you were mentioning that you wanted to throw some advice out.
Yeah, so kind of helps segue into, I guess, this next part. Well, hold on, this is, you said twist this?
Yeah, just rotate it a little.
Okay, yeah, that's better. You know, with new player, I guess coming back in, like I had gone years without playing the game.
Yeah.
And I got back in, and yes, it was overwhelming. But I kind of grit my teeth and said, well, hey, what's the worst thing that could happen?
So you're talking more like just sticking to it.
It's just sticking to it.
Regardless of how the turnout's going to be, you just kind of stick to it.
So, like, when I was playing, when I just jumped into locals. I just jumped right in. And back then, as you know, the players there were very competitive and really good. But we had
it was like the only shop you could play at the time.
So
now we have so many options to go and, you know, pick and choose where we want to, you know, either loyalty play or move around play. You know, like you don't have to go to any particular shop anymore.
Really, I mean,
where at that time it was just that one that shop in I think Alien Worlds, and I don't know if there was maybe what was that one?
It was Pat Booker.
There was one
Heroes.
called Southtown was closer to my area but it closed down.
Yeah, this one was the biggest one though. This one was
the biggest one, and so like it was crazy because I remember it was quite a bit, and I'd play and like, you know, if it was like another new player, like I'd do it all right, but then there's the guys who just came in and slapped me, bro, and I was like, it's cool. Like I didn't know you can do that, and you know, everybody was always super welcoming. That's one thing I could say that really helped, you know, me want to stay into it.
Yeah,
because everybody's like, oh man, you could have done this, that, like, you know, teaching me stuff, or this is how this interacts, you know, and there's never any hostility of like, you know, I messed up or you know, something like that. They'd be like, hey, this is how this works, you know, learn that stuff. Like, okay, I appreciate it, thank you. You know, I tell them, hey, I'm new, I'm new again, you know.
Yeah,
that's when I played with, you know, with my brother, you know, back in the streets. So it was pretty cool. So I really liked it. And then, you know,
so you're talking more. So what your main point would be is, even though you're doing terrible, you know, you're just learning the game. So stick to it, and don't give up.
And don't give up. Whether it be with your, you know, your friends, because it can be frustrating, you know. Practicing the same people, and like you have that one friend that always beats you, right? You have that one friend that always beats you, and but you keep playing them because it's always nice to. I feel like it's always better to play people who are just significantly better than you are.
Yeah,
because it's going to help you rise, right? Because if you play with the same people who are, you know, around the same or not as
or not really giving you any value out of what you're doing, you want to gain that.
You're never going to improve.
Yeah,
right. And same thing. So when you come to locals, and I've seen it where, not going to name drop, but there's a couple of the guys who are. Been going, and I've noticed, you know, and I kind of feel bad about it because I walk in like, oh shit,
yeah,
you know, I don't want to play, you know what I mean? I was like, oh well, like guys, I'm sorry.
But when you're consistent at winning over and over again,
yeah, you know, I'm like, I get it, but like,
and that deck is branded as
yeah, and I'm like, all right, well, you know, let's just play it out, just see what happens. Or, you know, there was one guy last week, that again, not gonna. I just saw him sitting on the off, wasn't playing. I'm like, hey, you're not gonna play tournament? And he's like, no, man, I just can't keep doing. I keep, like, you know, nothing's happening. I'm not winning. I'm not doing that. I'm not topping. And I feel like people have such a defeatist mentality, or not even that. But there's such a drive. I get it. Like you want to win. You want to have that accolade.
Was this a branded player?
No, it wasn't a branded player.
Okay.
No. If I ever see if you're playing branded and you're complaining, about getting spanked, you need to go hit yourself against the head, against the wall, because you shouldn't be.
I know one.
Okay, because my thing is, if the deck.
Hey, but he actually did really good on this last one. I know.
I'm just saying, like you can't. If you're playing branded, all you need to do is just understand the deck more, because that's the biggest thing.
Because I feel like with Yu-Gi-Oh, it is kind of like a sport. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't practice, don't play nothing, and you go and try to play a game, you're not going to be good. You know what I'm saying? So you cannot play and not look at any kind of Yu-Gi-Oh. You ain't going to
play the champ again and expect a different result just because it's a different day.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a good thing too, because again, I'm branded. Obviously, I play branded. Most of you guys know that, and I've been doing it for a while. And I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm okay. I'm a decent player.
Yeah.
I know I have some accolades. I have stuff on my belt.
Who's a better branded player?
Oh, I mean,
yeah. Who do you think is the best?
Who's the best branded player? Y'all guys know.
Who do you think?
Who do I think?
I mean, I was asking anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
not everybody that views knows our locals. Everyone, there's a few players on.
There's some people that I know that I've seen pilot the deck, but they're also just very good players in general that I've known from my past. They can take the deck and they can do very well. But these are also guys who have been at the same tables at Nats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With me that I've seen there. So again, it's the player itself.
And I'm talking about someone who is like when they walk in, you're like, oh, like with you, like, oh, you're playing branded. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's some other guys that I've seen that are good with it. I'll say. I wouldn't say, like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I can say pretty confidently that if I'm against a mirror match or if I'm in a room with other people, I'm the branded guy. I'm the Bystial player.
Yeah, he's the self-proclaimed beast.
Yeah.
And that's part of the attitude that you had to have, you know. So instead of like,
I was also the dark magician guy. People called me the magician guy. They didn't know my name. It's just the dark magician guy.
Magician dude.
You know,
the Mac Knight dude. I was a blue eyes dude. I was a Cosmo dude.
Yeah, and then I got I was known as always having kaijus in my deck.
Yeah,
I'm the kaiju dude. You're gonna get gamma sealed to death. It's probably right.
Maining kaiju?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
bro.
you just have something that's gonna sticks with you for so long, or that you've tried to like draw out for so long that it becomes a part of your what people know about you, especially if you're like an older player that's been playing for a long time.
I've been
different generations.
I've been playing Mac Knight since 2017, 2018.
Yeah,
and I kept playing it. I just stopped playing it because of branded.
Just because branded. Even like we were talking earlier about this. Like you started playing branded, but it didn't go as far as your Mac Knight deck was going. So you went back to Mac Knights. I did. Competed with that until they got more support, and then it finally became more.
I want to say when I picked up branded, it was already, I guess, after the first wave. Like, it was already like it had been good a few months back because I hadn't been around. I came back and I just like, well, what's new to play? Because I'm playing the same deck forever. And I think I saw
because branded had a lot of hype going into it.
Yeah, going into it. This was already months past that. So this is already months past that first the fusion and all that was already out. The structure decks were already out. It's already been out. It already got kind of overpassed, so like it wasn't as popular as it is, before and then recently.
I mean, now with all the stuff that you can do with it and all the support.
After a Luber dropped from $120.
Yeah. So it was like the cards were cheap, and Seraphing
and the Bystial monsters
hadn't gone out. It
increased its ability.
It was right before Bystial. So Seraphing, I was like, dude, what can I play? And he goes, I was just looking at stuff, and I saw Albaz, I saw Luber. I was like, dude, that's pretty cool. It's a fusion deck. I like fusions, you know what I mean? I like different stuff. I didn't see anybody playing the deck. And everybody kept saying it was trash. I like playing things that people say they're trash and then slap them across the face with it.
Yeah.
People say that about Dark Magicians. I topped with Dark Magicians, Flip Eradicator. Good GG homie. That kind of stuff. People said Mech Knights weren't good. Guess what? You go first. I'm a blind go second every time. I'm a kaiju you. I'm gonna break your entire board. Then I'm gonna hit you for game. That's it. No reason, buddy. And it was just that's just what I love doing. And so I got the Chimera. I got all the cards, and it was pretty cheap to build the deck. And I was like, okay. And I played it, and I was like, yeah, there's something missing. And then I needed more cards. So in my head, I'm like, all right, I don't want to put out the money. I want to win. Because that's what I want to win, get the prize money, and use the money, the store credit to buy cards. Because that's what I always did. When I played, anytime I was playing competitive, I spent maybe $100, $200 of my own money, everything else I've always had was from just my winnings and using that to multiply my money.
Yeah.
That's the way I looked at the game, right? I'm not going to, unless I really, really love a specific deck that I'm willing to bling out, as we all know I've been doing lately. Yeah.
Totally blinged out.
Yeah,
And you got another card that's coming out here
great.
with Brandon Fusion to get blinged out there.
But so like I said, going into that, that's just kind of what my. So let me go back to Magnites because that's tried and true, and I don't need to know what they're playing. I'm gonna let them do whatever they're gonna do, and I'm just gonna break the board. Because what are you gonna do with it evenly, right? Nothing. You're
or
just
Dark
cry.
Ruin no more.
Or that, yeah.
Yeah, or Dark Ruin. And so I would just, and that's just what I was doing, and it was crazy. It don't matter what the format was. They just do their thing. They, my favorite thing, they leave 3 cards in a column. Here comes Blue Sky for 3.
Yeah.
And you should feel bad if I Blue Sky for 3. You should feel bad about yourself and never do it again. But
do it
again. That's the worst part. And you're like, thanks, buddy. And and it was crazy. Like the worst part is the fact that you can make an Avermax and just sit on Avermax, and not a lot of decks can do a lot. And then you flip your trap negate, your spell negate, and your monster negate. And you have a full board of Mech Knights. They're literally just not playing the game.
And they're moving zones.
And they're shifting around and
not being able to get killed or deal damage too.
And then you got rid of one Avermax, it spins back your problem card. I just make another Avermax.
Non-targeted, right?
Non-targeting, spin back, It's
so cool. As far as like competitive play, what was the first time that you remember topping at an event, whether it be at locals or a bigger event, and how many times or how many trips have you gone to a regional and a nationals or had the opportunity to go to those things?
So going into I guess the competitive side of things, I can't tell you I remember the first time I topped at a locals. To be honest with you, I can't remember that first.
Can you remember like the first time that you topped where you're like it stands out, and you're like, man, like I did good, like
where you felt like your skills had reached a point where you had so you still needed to learn things, but you had learned enough where you knew you were confident enough to be consistent.
It's funny. It's my first 2 regionals that stand to me the most from my experience. So my first one, like I said, I played Cosmos, and it was my first ever regional. I hadn't been playing that long in the first place, but like I said, the support that I had, everybody in the time that I had, it helped me a lot. I'm not going to say that, I was just good for no reason. It was just, I had good players around me. And, like we were talking about earlier, my first couple matches, man, it was just easy. It was wild. My first guy is a Blue Eyes player. And it wasn't even like good Blue Eyes. It was like, slap a Blue Eyes, I'm so cool. Kind of thing, and you're like, nah, buddy, Vanilla Blue Eyes ain't gonna do nothing. And and I had gone next to, and I just remember in my head thinking like, I didn't top or nothing, because I didn't really know how. I just know I lost twice, and it wasn't a huge event. So I was like, I probably didn't get nothing. And I remember I was on the counter talking to Alex Rage, as everybody knows him, and crying, and all of a sudden I heard my name get called. Getting that that spot, and
so you didn't think you were going to get it because of how many matches you had lost.
Yeah.
But so you stuck with it.
Yeah,
you stayed through the tournament. Your losses pushed you up through the bracket.
And that's what actually kind of to the other point that we're saying. Another advice for new players is to stick it out, because if you can't even stick out a locals, right? You're not going to stick out an event that's 8-9 rounds, plus on a regional level. And even you can practice all you want. You got sleep, but dude, man, you guys get halfway through, you understand how exhausting physically and mentally that is. To be able to do that. So if you need to be able to just push through it.
Yeah, you can take a couple of losses and still make it into the top.
Yeah,
because of the people who probably beat you.
Yeah,
you don't know who they
are,
who
they were, how good they were. You don't know how
good they are. Yeah, exactly.
One of those guys could have gotten first. That
would have accelerated your position up to at least, like I was telling you, anywhere between 28 and 32 if you're in top 32.
And you get in there, and that's what it is. And not to you, once that happened, I was like, wow, I can really do this. Because at first I didn't even really want to compete. I didn't want to. And I didn't feel like I was ready enough. But everybody else kept telling me, just do it. It's fun.
Yeah,
just do it. What you got to lose?
Just $20.
And I was like,
$20 in 10 hours of your day.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll try it, and then I'll be able to tell you I told you so. but I was wrong apparently. So that kind of, it gave me that boost, and I was like, wow, I can really like hang with it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny that, you know, seeing some of the guys that you played, you know, with locals on those top tables, you know, at the end of the day, and it was really cool. And to be able to share that experience with all the, you know, the friends that you made, really something different.
The ones that helped you out to get to that
exactly.
point.
And then tell them, hey, thank you. Like, I appreciate. Like, I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And then, obviously, that happened.
Your second.
My second one. I played Dark Magician.
The Dark Magician.
The Dark Magician. The best of spellcaster. And it was before we got the Apprentice, the Shonen Jump, you know, chick. And it was just Flip Eradicator. Like I said, you know, Flip Eradicator, smile, and like call spells. And then that was really it. And I got top 8 with that. And that was pretty crazy. I didn't feel scummy at all. Everybody else kept telling me, like, you should feel scummy. I'm like, why? It's the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody's playing these crazy. I'm sitting there. I look next to me, and these crazy boards. I'm like, dude, I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to combo.
It's hard to set up even the Eradicator combo. Like, it's free.
You have to draw it, dude. You have to draw,
and you have to put a Dark Magician on the board, and you have to do all this stuff. And at that time, it wasn't as easy as just...
It was not.
Reveal, dude, bring back dude, special
dude. You know what the rawest moment was?
You know?
The rawest moment is? Drawing into Mahad. Revealing Mahad's special Mahad. Just like, I feel like you're just like, oh shit.
Only bad thing is Mahad's a light.
Yeah.
I think he's a light, so he doesn't even count.
I can't believe you played that card.
I played it too.
Yeah.
That card was so fun.
Basically, we're playing pretty similar stuff from I think most of the time. They would be playing similar stuff. But they'd have a variation. Like, he would play with the... so his Mech Knights, he would play with the where he tributes a card, creates column, but you were also playing with the Crusadias.
So the Mech Knights.
Mine, I never got into playing the Crusadia package. I hated the Crusadia.
What got me into that is I went from World Legacy, the World Legacy cards.
Yes.
That's when you had Firewall, and it would be the Infinite Firewall combo with Gamma Seal. So you'd have Waterfront, you start Firewall, boom, boom, summon Gamma Seal, and then people would be like, Maxi, and you deck them out. Because you can just, you know, it's bad. It just keeps infinitely loop.
Well, as long as you can create the loop and show that you're going to
resolve
it over and over again, and you show them that you can end the game there.
And then the worst part is, like, okay, and then if they had anything to interrupt, you had a Gamma Seal to negate it and banish the card, and then you just bounce it back, and then it was bad. And but it was fun. I loved it a lot, and that was great. And then that Firewall off the window, as you all know.
Yeah, I didn't go against that one. I went up against Firewall with the Trick Stars, where it was like burn you, and it like ripped your hand and it burned you, and I was like, okay.
And then the Gunbar was the thing, and then that happened. And then after that, Mech Knights came out. That's when I went to Mech Knights, and then I did the Mech Knights with the Sky Striker cards because I wanted to figure out a way for Mech Knights to go first. So we got Gearsu pretty late. Before that,
it was pretty hard to come up with a good.
So you added the 3 Gearsus. You had that, but I love Gamma Seal. I played the Waterfront, I played the Terraforming, I played my Gamma Seal.
That is probably the most annoying part of that whole package.
Yeah.
Or your deck, and specifically the one that you're playing, that version with the
adding on Gamma Seal, and then you start usually dropping it on board. So like the whole point was, okay, having him go on there and then playing the Hornet drones, engagement, all that stuff, engage, and it's like engaging for Hornet drones, drop the Hornet drone, go into Kagari, add it back. And then go Mech Knight nonsense, and then end on, like, you know, you get the Saryuja, you search, you probably got into the Waterfront at that point, or at least the Gamma Seal, and then just able to search Gamma Seal, use Saryuja to drop it on board, and then you go into a Link 1, and then go into Avermax, and then you sit on Avermax, and you're
with the trap, right?
With the trap, so then you had, you know, with the trap, so like best board would be like, secrets, and then I think it might be key. It's a spell that negates trap cards.
Oh yeah, I think it's
so. So the negate spell trap cards, negate monster effects. Then you have Gamma Seal, and then you have like Indigo on board, with Nightfall coming back on your standby, and then you have, you know, Avermax, and that board was really just, you're not outing it. And then if you could have the E-Tele card, great, because then you could negate twice, and then you'd be on one counter with Waterfront, and then just wait for anything, and then just shotgun your E-Tele, summon one to board, you summon a Nightfall for another negate, that card go to grave, now you got 2 counters again, you have another negate. And so it was really just learning what to let through sometimes to get my counters back up, and it was just kind of overwhelming for some people. I remember specifically against like Ultrageist, they hated the negate the spell.
No one ever really played Key anyway. Most people would
don't. So it blind spot. Like it would blindside
people. Yeah,
blindside people. Like they wouldn't see it coming. They didn't know about it because it wasn't really optimal.
And they wouldn't even read it. They'd be like, "What does it do?" And you'll tell them the first effect. Whatever.
Yeah, it gets back a banished machine.
Yeah, just
that's cool.
It adds a banished machine monster. Here, you can read it, and then
okay,
they'll give it back to you, and not even read the card, or they'll read it gets back a banished card, and then they'll give it back to you, and never even read the.
They think if it's not in the same column of the trap card or the spell card.
Yeah,
people misunderstand it. It's like, no, it's the Mech Knights themselves.
Mech Knight.
The monsters. And then people wouldn't realize that Abramax is a Mech Knight Crusadia. He's both. So they just kind of don't read.
Mm-hmm.
Players, we love you guys.
More advice, read.
Please read. But yeah, so that was kind of thing. But yeah, to go back, I guess, before we get too off tangent.
Oh yeah,
we like
tangents.
Did that. So of course I've been lucky enough. We had this conversation before of me and my buddy talking about, like, thankfully I've gotten my invite just about every time I've played in a regional. I've done plenty of them. They were in here. They were in San Antonio or surrounding areas.
How many regionals have you topped that you can remember, or you lost count?
I've lost count, to be honest with you.
So are you gonna take that next step and maybe do like what's out to the regions?
You've been to nationals, right?
I've been to nationals.
Okay, so
how many? Like one time?
I've been, I think, 3 times.
3 times.
Do you remember which one specifically?
18 is the one that sticks in my mind. The other 2 I don't remember which. I just remember I've gone 2 other times. The worst part is
the 18 one was the last one before they stopped having them, right?
Yeah, 18 was the last one before they stopped having them. Yeah. So the first one I went to, it was like I didn't make it to day 2. It was just whatever got slapped. You know, it was what it was.
Was it like a whole different?
It was a whole other feeling, man. It was very overwhelming.
You probably, if you were playing Cosmos in that one, because that might have been the same one I went to. This would have been in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So that one, you're running into Pepe, and you're running into, and I've talked about this in my video, Pepe and what was the other one? The one that tributes your cards.
Monarchs, yeah.
Monarchs is tough.
Yeah.
It's hard because you're playing around the targeting aspect with them, but Monarchs literally specifically came out, I think, in counter to Cosmos to just remove them from the board for free and without ever targeting.
And they had, what was the trap card that, like, they can activate their effect? It's like a floodgate.
Yeah, Monarchs erupt.
Monarchs erupt. Yeah.
Okay.
So that it made it
like
harder to play. So if you had, so I ran into Monarchs, but I played I don't know if you played the spell where you draw 3 and then it was the trap version where you use the traps and.
No.
What version of Cosmos did you play there?
I think it was a real standard version, bro.
Just the regular?
Yeah, it's just a regular.
Yeah, I didn't do
anything funky with it.
I played a what is the name of that card? Card of Demise.
Card of Demise, yeah.
I did not play Card of Demise during that one because I felt like I was going to get mauled up by.
I didn't have Demises or nothing like that. I was just, did my thing.
So how did the second one go?
The second one was pretty good. I made day 2, but I was super sick. Overnight, I just got.
Must have been the travel then.
I think I felt like
exhaustion sickness is a real thing.
And then I got smacked that first round, so I was just kind of, that happened. I was like, well.
So you weren't feeling really optimistic about the national like at that level.
Yeah, because I had bad experiences both too. I'm like, man, do I want to do this?
Is there something that you could have done better? Like maybe got more sleep, maybe prepared for the meta?
That's the thing, man. I think I over prepared. That's what it is.
But I think you're gonna be, even before regional, here if you remember your first time going to regional, you probably stayed up all night just overthinking it, man. Things that you shouldn't even have worried about.
Like my first Nats, like I said, I think I did, like, I was pretty calm, and it was just the matchups were just rough. Honestly, I felt like there was nothing I could have really done. Maybe, like I said, it was just the deck building aspect. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should have. But then again, I was still getting you back into it, so like I didn't really think of. I was just having fun with the deck. I really liked it a lot. That's why I took it.
You weren't really like sitting down.
Like, okay, these are the top let me think about every single matchup there is and how well. It wasn't like I was going in because I wanted the experience and the fact that I got my invite.
Yeah,
might as well use it if I can.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of
2018 then.
And then 18. This one was the most upsetting, but I had the absolute most fun. So I went there with Seraphine and Alex and another friend of ours that went. It's funny.
Alex Rage?
Yeah, Alex Rage. Yeah, yeah. So we all went together, and it was in Fort Worth. I think the 18 was in Fort Worth. I think the Dallas Fort Worth area. I don't know what recall. It's around there. And I'm pretty sure.
Regionals or Nats?
It was a Nats.
Okay.
And remember, it was funny though, because the first thing we did was they had you can make the tokens.
Yeah.
And we are all holding up the trap card fine. Because we're like, it's fine, we're gonna be fine, you know. And so we all hold it up, and I still have that token till now, and that's what I use. The center.
I want to make one of those so bad.
Yeah, it was.
I did all of the at that
side event. They had a bunch of side events.
That one, the one that happened in Pittsburgh, I did all of it.
And the doing with the big cards, and that was cool. I saw that.
And the free signature. Well, there's a guy there that normally, if you were to see these people at like an event or whatever, they'll charge you.
Yeah.
And you're just there getting
shit for free.
And then as long as you go back in through the line and you wait in line,
cool,
you
saw a couple of
YouTubers
YouTubers too. Like Alec actually played against Simo in one of the side events, and he was like, "Dude, I played him." I was like, "Why didn't I get to see that?" I was playing because so he tried to play for his invite before, trying to get in while we were there. So like the first events they had was like this little tiny kind of regional things that you could get. I think only like first or second.
Yeah, like last chance.
But he said he didn't. But so he kept playing the side events, and I feel like they were having so much fun doing that stuff, and I was like sitting there playing the actual
serious setting.
And I'm just like, man, fuck these guys. I remember one guy, like a Trickstar player, trying to do that stupid combo with the drone lock. Like I just saw in his eyes, dude. I saw in his eyes. I'm like, nah, man, flip this shit. Trap ain't working today. But I just saw it, and I felt like it was coming because we had a player who always did it. What's his name? I can't think of his name. It was during Logos. He always did it all the time.
Well, I know Danny liked doing it.
Danny liked doing it too.
Danny's definitely enjoyed
it gave me an issue, man. Inside, if you were playing Tree Stars and I felt like it was coming, man, I was getting upset. I was like, and like, not just stay calm about it, but like internally, I was enraged, man. I was
like,
enraged.
you hate the way it resolves. When it resolves, it hurts, man.
You just like
your hand and
you got no cards. You went first. I just had to draw like in the one. It's not like you can. At the time, there's like no. Okay, so the part is like I remember he did do it to me. I think like game 2 because I won game 1, I won game 2, and I got lucky and I what was that? I drew into Gear Suit, and I was like, oh, nice. So it was like kind of Gear Suit made kind of full combo basically. And he had nothing really else at that point. And I still lost that one, but it was like the feeling like okay, it wasn't that bad. Like I drew into.
Because there's one where one rips your hand completely, right?
Yeah.
And then they draw.
So they wait for you to add something.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or they'll force you to draw.
Yeah.
And then they'll hit you with
reincarnation
change roll.
Yeah.
So draw resolves, reincarnation will banish, but you cannot draw anymore.
Yeah. So you just lose your hand. But then if they don't play it right, then you just banish your hand and then draw more. And
so
then
if they draw then reincarnation will resolve where you draw, and then draw will stop you from adding. So yeah, you definitely have to know what you're doing when you're doing that.
But that happened, and then so anyway, so the day was going actually pretty good for me. The reason this event stuck with me so long and it has the biggest impact is because the last match that I played on day 1, it wasn't even the last match of the day, unfortunately. It was mid-event. I think it was like round 5, round 6.
But it was the last match you played.
Last match I played.
Okay.
The words, it hurts. I played an Altergeist player. Okay. Forever will be known to me as the saltiest man alive. Okay. We're playing. This is why anybody that plays Altergeist, just don't play the deck. Be better.
And they're getting like they just got support.
Yeah, I know. But if I see you playing Altergeist, I will hand you the puppet, and then I will make sure that I slowly burn you until time gets called, and I will still game 1. And
that's a challenge accepted, I think, by some players.
I will do everything I can.
I know one player. If the Altergeist support is good enough, Eric will definitely.
Eric can
more than likely be playing.
Yeah, he will. Well, Eric's always playing. He's just I don't know, man.
If you can set a judgment, 2 judgment, and a strike, and then play 1 monster and do some linking and then pass your turn, and then it works out for you. Then
Eric's always like I think he's the reason I have like a disdain for
For altar guys.
For altar guys. But,
or just back row decks.
Yeah, just back row decks in general because of Eric. But this guy because of altar guys specifically. Yeah, so we're going. I clocked him game 1. He got the good Gamma Seal special. Game 2, he jumps his cards, and I was like, okay, and I activate key. First thing I did, I just shotgunned it. He left it alone. He didn't do anything. He read the first one. He goes, "You're not gonna," because we got nothing to add. I'm like, I know, it's just gonna stay there, face up.
I need something to play.
And I put another card. I put the Monster Reborn one, and the other column. So he had 2 traps. So I summoned Blue Sky on one, and then he attempts to flip the other. The trap with the one that's on the negate or whatever. So then I activate the E-Tele from hand. And I'm like, response. And he's like,
okay, you call it E-Tele, but it's basically the Mech Knight.
The Mech Knight E-Tele. It's a Mech Knight E-Tele.
So I was like, I was a little confused, and I was like, oh, he's talking about the Mech Knight.
That's the thing. It's their E-Tele.
Because now they
name some of the Mech Knight.
But you're talking about memory.
I don't remember the names. I just flip the card. It looks pretty. It gets me a card. Pretty cool.
Works like E-Tele.
It works like E-Tele. So we call it E-Tele. Like when things work like Rhoda, what do we call them? It's like Rhoda,
it's like
right?
Rhoda.
Yeah, but I'm a little slow. I'm the slow one in the back.
My bad.
E-Tele. What is he bringing out?
Let me explain the card, okay? It lets me special summon.
No, I know what memory does.
In defense mode. At the end of the turn, it bounces back to my hand.
And then you're stuck
into Mech Knights.
Mech Knights.
Yes. Which is no problem.
Yes.
We like that shit.
Yes.
But anyway, so he goes, okay, and then he decides to activate the other trap that's in front of the Blue Sky.
And
I'm like, okay, cool. I said, okay, anything else? He said, no. Okay, he goes, okay, this is going to resolve. I said, it's negated. That's what do you mean? I was like, well, this card. Well, no, it's not in front of it. I'm like, it's in front of a Mech Knight. What's this guy's name? Blue Sky. Mech Knight Blue Sky. That's crazy. He's negated. And then let me search my card. I'll search purple. And then he goes, okay, well, this is going to activate. And I'm like, and it gets negated. He goes, what? He goes, but when I activate it, there wasn't a Mech Knight. I said, no. But on the resolution of memory, there's a Mech Knight. So before your card resolves, it is now activating in the same column of a what? A Mech Knight, Miko. And then, I might be an ass, because I explained it to him like that. Because I was trying to be as calm, but as mean as possible. Again, because he just had his face. And so that happened.
One of those faces.
It's one of those faces. So then he goes, let me call the judge. I'm like, okay. Can't read. So I wait. Judge comes. He looks at the cards. He goes silent. He goes, no, he's right. You're crazy. End of discussion. Right? Guy gets upset. The judge stayed around, too, for the rest of it. So I finished spanking him. The judge gives a slip. I go, I won. Judge looks at me. I won. Yes. Okay, I sign. I do it. He gives the slip to that guy. The guy signs, and in the boxing, all right. The judge looks at the slip, goes, I'm like, everything good? Yeah, everything's good. Walks away. I go back to hang out with Alex and them. All of a sudden, next round is called. I look, I can't find my name. What's going on here? And I go to the judge's table, and they find this ticket. The guy wrote drop on my name. So they dropped me from the attorney. And I was like, well, the judge there was a judge, and I pointed out the guy. I was like, he was right there. He saw me. Why on earth, if I'm undefeated, why on earth would I drop? And they're like, well, you did, but so there's just, you dropped. Nothing. I'm like, no, I didn't drop. That's wow. I was like, why don't? And I was like, so the other guy's still an attorney, right? Yeah. So now his record is like, if you drop me, and depending if you guys didn't give him the win, he'd be. So why don't you remove him and just put me where he's supposed to be? How about that? Well, we can't do that.
Yeah. I think at that, when you get to that level of gameplay, every little thing is...
That's crazy.
It's critiqued to a weird degree. Because in the match that I had in the one in 2015 in Pittsburgh, I had just one card. I had Effect Veilers in my main deck. They were supposed to be my side deck. I noticed it. and I told my opponent, hey, we haven't started the game yet, but I have effect failures in my main deck, and they're supposed to be in my side deck, and I just need to swap these 2 cards out, and I'll call a judge. I called the judge over, right? This dude still gives me a game loss, even though I had the integrity to mention it to begin with. I could have played with the effect failures in there and taken and probably been fine.
Yeah.
But he gives me a game loss instead, so they don't even reward your integrity when you're being honest. Because he had to go and get my deck list, come back over, looked at my deck, mate. He was like, yeah, those are supposed to be there. Get a game loss. And I was like,
something that could have
and I
been
was
a
like,
couple
there's
seconds.
no
It's
way.
something like you noticed after
it's
you
not like
started
you
playing.
had to come over here, deck check me, and find out that I was doing something
Or you were
nefarious.
like in the middle of the game, like you already started, you drew, and then you noticed it.
Yeah.
This is before you even started, and that's the rough part. And like,
so even like the smallest things, they're overly critiqued, and I understand that. I understand why they are though, because like for this whole thing, we've already moved on. Dude.
Yeah.
Like you can't go and restart an entire 500
yes, exactly.
However many people are there. There was probably like 800-900 people there.
A lot of people, man.
And you're gonna go and restart all that over one mistake that you should have verified before the.
So it happened, and I told him, I was like, well, and I said that my only problem was the fact that like, okay, well, you know, is the judge who's handling the slip, and I asked him because he got it back, he gave it to me, then gave it to him, then he took it. I asked him, does it all look good? And so to me, I was like, okay, well, you know, you're looking at it, you're obviously, you know the situation. He should have caught it. So I was like, okay, well, can you at least give me like a game loss? That way I can keep playing, you know? And they're like, no, we can't do that.
Or how are you going to penalize the player?
Yeah, how are you going to penalize the player?
You know, even moving forward, because that is just some underhanded, tricky.
Yeah.
And that sucks that they're just like, well, that's it. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah. So I after that, I just kind of went into the side events, and I was just, you know, playing people I had no reason playing. That was fun. I got some free stuff.
Did you win? Did you win a lot of the side events?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, the side events are actually pretty cool, and a lot of some people go
and
there
then
just to do the side events.
And then I sold my deck, and so it was funny. So I sold my deck, like at the end of it, I sold my deck, and I remember I had probably spent maybe like a little over $100 on that McKnight deck, but engages were crazy expensive now at that point, and I think I made like good $700-800, dude. I flipped my deck, and then the dice, because people were like wanting to roll for dice and sleeves and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I'll play you for them, or I'll roll you for them, and I still have some of the sleeves today, like cause they're the purple ones.
Yeah,
I really like them a lot, so I still have like 3 packs.
The world,
just the world championship qualifier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice. Yeah,
they give you. So when you get there, they give you a playmat and a pack of sleeves or whatever it is the promotion thing is. I think it's always a playmat and a pack of sleeves for that world championship qualifier.
And then for day 2, you get another playmat.
Yeah. And then there's a main playmat for the actual like for topping or whatever.
Yeah.
And you'll get those for free upon entry. But they're not free because you just have to like travel there and get a hotel and all that. But it's what you get for it.
It's what you get. And it's funny though because like I've used it as a joke for a long time because like it's a McKnight mat, so I love the mat. I always use that mat, and people are like, "Oh man, you must be good. You have this." I'm like, "No, I bought it." And I do all the time, like, "No, I bought it." Or like I used to joke around a lot of people. People are like, "Oh yeah, you're like, oh you're good. You're gonna beat me." I'm like, "Nah, dude, I'm absolute trash."
I'm kind of sad I got rid of my Phantom Knights.
Yeah.
The Phantom Knight one was from the 20s.
That 20. I'm sick. I got rid of my McKnight mat.
Yeah, dude. I
think I sold it to Juan or something like that.
Yeah, I've had it for the longest time, but yeah, and anytime anybody asks me about it, I'll straight up like, dude, I bought it.
That's one.
I bought the sleeves, and then like it's funny though because you see me in the token, I'm like there, and then it's like holding the cards, I'm like, I bought that too. I don't know who that guy is. and then I'm like Alex, when Alex was working at Heroes, he'd turn around and be like, he's lying to you. He's like he's gonna smile. I'm like, don't say that to people.
But Alex is pretty forward.
Yeah, he is.
He doesn't. If he hears nonsense, he'll call it out.
Yeah.
Do you have something you wanted to ask?
Yeah, because we did talk about like your deck being like upgraded, high rarity and stuff like that. So, my question is, how do you have the time to, and also, you are a father and, you're married, and did you have twins?
Yeah, I just had twins.
That's crazy.
Three of them.
I have no kids, and I'm just like trying to figure out how to manage life with Yu-Gi-Oh time to be a meta player, because I do feel like you do gotta like study the game a little bit, so I'm just wondering, how do you balance that?
So like you said, married, you know, I got a career. I've been in the auto industry for over a decade now at this point. And I work crazy hours. We all know I work crazy hours, and I try to show up, you know, when I can. But thankfully, you know, a big part of that is, you know, my wife has always been very supportive of, you know, my love for the game. There was a point where, you know, I can say like I couldn't. I've had back issues from back in college, and there was a good 9 months where I couldn't drive, like, because I was getting like partial paralysis on my left side, so I couldn't drive, nothing like that. My wife got a second job to make sure she was paying for my car bills, our bills, and took care of us. And at the time I was still playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and that was actually in 18, so that's another reason why it really did a lot for me. My buddies, they'd come scoop me up, and because I couldn't even drive, like I was told, like I legally could not drive just because something could happen during that period of time. So her thing was like, hey, just go play, you know, when you can. You need some, you know, you need to get out of the house. You need something to clear your mind so you're not stewing in it, you know. And I'd go a lot to like Pat Book or whatever, or I'd go to the store and I'd hang out with everybody, and that really gave me, you know, something else to think about, you know, and not stewing like, hey, my issues right now. Again, having the good friends that I've met throughout the years with it, kept me together. And then that kind of translated. As soon as I got better again, I was like, man, I beat this. You know, I got nothing to it. And the fact that my wife was that supportive. And when I wanted it, you know, new cards came out. Oh shit, man, this would be real good. You know, I tell her, and she'd listen, bro. I'd be out drinking, talking. I'm like, you know, she has to listen to my bullshit about Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah. And it's like, she got back from her second job, you know.
Were you playing Yu-Gi-Oh before you met her, or you met her and then you started?
So we got together, and I wasn't playing. Like I said, I didn't. We had moved back to San Antonio together because we were both, you know, we're from here. We met here. I moved out to Houston after about 4 or 5 months. She moved out there with me, and then we were there for about 2 years, and then we came back to San Antonio together, and that's when I met Crane, and that's what got me back into Yu-Gi-Oh. So again, 2015, 2016. So we already been together for a good like 2-3 years.
Because coming from someone who's like played before they got into the relationship, I kind of had to like explain to my
I honestly wish that would have been the case, because I feel like that would have been easier if I was already doing it. I'm like, hey, now we're dating. This is a woman that I'm engaged to, bro. I have a business with. I'm supposed to be a grown man. I'm like,
weird hobby, and then I'm like, no idea what it even is.
Is it okay if I just like dip out while we're open, and you have like 8 customers here to go hang out with this guy that I just met like a couple months, like that he's been coming to our shop to go to a card shop? Is that okay? Like that was real, yeah.
So that was you.
I feel like that was a little more different. But she was like, "Yeah, you go to you, boo. Like I don't care as long as it don't affect business, you know." She's like, "That's what you want to do," and I was like, "Hey."
So as long as you got the business taken care of,
yeah, she was supportive of you doing it, no matter what.
She was just kind of like, "All right, you know what? Cool. As long as we got money in the bank, we can do what we want. If you're gonna go do that, cool. After you're done with it, you're gonna take me to the movies, the bar. We're gonna go downtown, party up. I'm like, anything you want, babe.
Yeah. That's what I tell the fellas. I was like, hey, if we plan a day, I gotta run it by my girl. Say, hey, this day, am I good?
And that's a big part of it, you know, the communication. And like I said, so like that happened, and I didn't think I was gonna get this into Yu-Gi-Oh, man. And again, it went through. Then we had that period of me not working. She took those other jobs, and then I got better. We did get married and all that. And before we had kids, and mind you, I'm working, you know, Monday through Saturday for the most part. I'm working from 8:30 in the morning.
This is at Toyota, or this is at your current job?
Doing the same kind of thing. I was at other dealerships before. I was at Honda at the time, but it's the same business, you know, same thing. So always working crazy hours, but then I'm like, okay, I'm off early. I've sold enough cars. I've done this. I've done that. I got enough in the bank where, you know what, I can go once, twice a week. And then before it was like, okay, Sundays, like that's Sundays, that's my one-off day. From morning till whenever she's done, she's good to go. That's her, you know. And there's no Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments on Sundays, so we're good.
Well, there are, just not anywhere you want to be.
Yeah.
Not anywhere you want to be.
Yeah, Pat Book. And sometimes I'll slide over there. But yeah. So that's kind of what was it. And like even now we got, like I said, my son turns 3 next month. I got 2 twin girls who are about 3 months old. It was a change, you know. Since I had my son, it's crazy how people say like, oh, your priorities change, all this changes, and like, the way you think changes. It really does without much effort. I'll put it that way. It just kind of like shifts over to where like
you're just going
to second nature. You just kind of do it. Like, you know, hey, I'm gonna keep working. No, work's not changing. This one, but I'm like same thing. Like when I'm home, it's all about my dude. You know, whatever he wants to do. I'll tell you what though, he loves going to Heroes. Now he's a little older. Dude, that takes him up. He runs up in front of that Hulk statue that we all know, and Hulk's out in front of it, and then he'll go look at the comic books. That dinosaur cabin on the far left has cost me a lot of money. Anytime he goes, he's there. He's like, I'm getting a dinosaur. I'm like, all right, dude. A lot of my store credits on there. The thing's like $30, $40, dude, for a dinosaur like this big. At Heroes, dude.
Yeah, on the opposite side.
On the opposite side. It's like the collector's toys, right? But he don't care. He's like, it's a dinosaur. I want it.
Saw Jurassic Park already.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, man. Like, I can't. I spent, you know, $100 on this card. Sure, I'll spend $40 on a dinosaur. Yeah. I can't out you for that. But he's always like, you know, I brought him who's well behaved. You know, he'll sit down, and now he's collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's actually pretty funny. He goes through my bulk, and if he sees anything with a dinosaur or a dragon on it, he takes it, and he has his own little in his room. He has a little box, and he puts them all in there. And then I want to say like a couple weeks ago, I was re-sleeving the branded deck, and he wanted sleeves, so we started sleeving up his cards.
Yeah,
that cost me 2 packs of sleeves.
There's adults this day that don't sleeve up their cards.
You know? Yeah, dude, it wild, man. It's wild.
No, he's just trying to be like that.
Yeah, he's trying to. That's what it is. Like, dude, I've caught him. Like, I have to be careful though too. I've caught him using cards like a toothpick, and like straight up, just like, this. What are you doing? And then you flip, but then it's like the worst part. It's like a random card. It doesn't have a dragon. It doesn't have a dinosaur, so he don't care about it.
Yeah.
But
just happens to be the Mary
Dragon dinosaurs. Starlight. Oh man, no, he grabbed my dragoons. Because I was just going to pick up the dragoon and looked at it. My heart sunk, dude. I was like,
no sudden movements.
Exactly. I paused, man. I was like, buddy, cabrón.
You don't want that. What'd you say?
Yeah, exactly. And he was looking at it. He goes, ooh.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah. He goes, what's this? I'm like, it's dragoons. He goes, it's a dragon? I'm like, yeah, but you can't have it. He goes, why? I'm like, because that's Dad's card. He goes, okay. And he handed it back to me, dude. I was sweating bullets. I was like, oh, thank God. But that part's like really cool. Being able to, you know, I'm looking forward to when he can actually, you know, really comprehend the game and, you know, play with him in that way. That's something that we do together. But like I said, as far as and then, you know, the girls are just the girls. They scream all the time, you know.
Yeah.
We'll see what that happens with there, you know.
Well, they were just born.
Yeah, they're just
Hey guys, thanks for watching. We hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell for when new videos are uploaded.